Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and this time we're talking about how it looks like there are some different leakers and insiders that are teasing big Nintendo Switch 2 reveals. And when I say reveals, I'm referring to in part the Nintendo Switch 2 itself, but also possibly some games as well. So there's a lot going on here, there's really a lot to talk about, there's been so much happening as of late. And yeah, there is a great deal of increased optimism that a reveal for the Switch 2 could be happening in just a few short days, this upcoming week. So everything may be happening very quickly here. Today is kind of a rushed Sunday, so forgive me, the editing is very simple. This is more of a discussion on what may be going on. But we essentially have three different stories to focus on here. One is apparently a leak for a huge third-party game coming to Nintendo Switch 2. Another is expanding on the breaking news we had from yesterday regarding the return of famed Nintendo leaker Pyoro seemingly buying into all this Nintendo Switch 2 reveal hype with the eye emojis. And then also we have a translation from PH Brazil, who in Portuguese was talking about their expectation of a reveal happening this week, or rather their speculation, but informed speculation, and it's extremely interesting. And so that's the new stuff I want to get into today. But if you've been missing out on what's been going on as of late, I recommend you check some prior videos, but I will try to briefly summarize just so you're on the same page. Nintendo Switch 2 earlier this year, after the supposed internal delay, was reported to be coming out early next year, the first half, many suggesting March, maybe April. And so if that's to be happening, a reveal needs to happen really soon. A lot of us are thinking by the Nintendo shareholders meeting on November 5th. And looking how things worked back in 2016, how they revealed Switch 1, it was revealed a week before the shareholders meeting, and it came out March 3rd of the next year. So we're hoping and thinking that something similar may be happening this time around, and it looks like we're starting to see some smoke now. We have industry analyst Dr. Serkan Toto, who has a little bit of a history of putting out cryptic tweets within 2 weeks of a major Nintendo announcement, and it looks like they may have done that again by putting out a tweet with quotes, Switch 2. But then we also have this very interesting situation going on with just Nintendo themselves, how they didn't have a typical September Direct, or any kind of Direct in September, something that they've always had in the last 8 years. And yet looking at what's going on for Nintendo's plans in 2025, we only have the release date for Donkey Kong Country Returns in January, no February or March game, and here we are just a handful of days before November, and normally by September of every year, we know about the first 3 games in terms of dates from Nintendo. We're about to hit November, and we only know about 1. It's very weird. And then this last week, even more strange things have started to happen. Playtonic Games put out a trailer for the Yooka-Laylee remaster, and they listed off current-gen platforms, did not include the Nintendo Switch, but did put a Nintendo logo, and then had these eye emojis dancing around emphasizing the Nintendo logo. It looks very much like the eyes from Cappy in Super Mario Odyssey. They're not the same, but they are very similar. And then the marketing manager at Nintendo of UK responded to this announcement on Twitter with eye emojis, immediately deleted it, and then wiped all information and privated their account on Twitter of them working with Nintendo, and then also their LinkedIn profile. It's very odd. And then we also have recent shipment data that has been suggesting that Nintendo's been wrapping up different parts for the Nintendo Switch 2, and if they're ramping up parts every single month by a significant margin, it would suggest that mass production is really about to happen at any point now, and Nintendo would likely need to reveal the console, but it'll also support the idea that the console is going to be coming out early next year. And then there's even this shareholder chat on Family Boards, who has started talking about how that they started to hear chatter in their different financial circles, which in their opinion is a prerequisite before a big reveal like this. So that's a brief summary of everything's going on. If you want the full context, I recommend you check the prior videos. And we will be getting to this new information, but let me quickly say thank you for watching up to this point, and if you do enjoy my content, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell. But let's start off by clarifying what PH Brazil was saying. So here is a translation provided to us by Necrofelipe, someone else who speaks Portuguese, who works at Universal Nintendo, the owner of Universal Nintendo. And here is the transcript. And I don't know when Switch 2 will be announced. I have conjecture. I have informed speculation at most. Like, people in the industry are saying that they think it's going to be here next week because this or that thing. Such game has to be announced with the Switch 2 logo and so on. So I don't know when it is, but I think it's next week. I think it's next week. Next week. I'll say it right now. Next week. I don't know. Monday, Tuesday, at key times. I'll open Nintendo's Twitter to press F5 there. Man, because everything indicates that it's now, man. It would be really weird if it was later than next week. Here he explains the relationship with the release date and the financial results being released in November. And so that's what PH Brazil had to say on this. He's not telling us, he's not leaking that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be revealed next week. It's informed speculation based off things he's heard behind the scenes in terms of industry chatter and different things that need to get revealed with supposedly a Switch 2 logo. So there is mention of different games that need to have that Switch 2 logo. We look at Yooka-Laylee. This is a game that is for Nintendo Switch 2. But this game was going to be playable at an event this weekend, so they need to put out a trailer, and they wanted to include the Nintendo logo to show that this is indeed coming to Nintendo's next generation platform. But most games that are coming to Switch 2 are going to actually have the Switch 2 logo. And so it looks like we're getting really close to that point, that boiling point, which seemingly may be leading to this belief that the Switch 2 is going to be revealed next week. And also let me remind you that PH Brazil is also one of the people that has reported and has maintained this report all throughout the year. It has been questioned multiple times, and has still maintained the Switch 2 is supposed to come out early next year. As we talked about earlier, if the Switch 2 is coming out early next year, they pretty much have to reveal it before the shareholders meeting. But now let's get into this leak from Nash Weedle. Now, I understand whenever I talk about Nash Weedle, people say, oh, this person's unreliable, which I don't necessarily agree with. Yes, there is a history of them getting things incorrect surrounding the pandemic period of time, but there was a lot of industry flux during that period of time, so that might have something to do with it. This person is perhaps most well known for their Metroid Dread leak, where they leaked the title of the game, the gameplay style, the release timing, all that stuff. But more recently, over the last few months, they've leaked Mario and Luigi Brothership, Nintendo emulating Virtual Boy through the Nintendo Switch, which we saw confirmed at the Nintendo Direct Museum, and other things that we've discussed in the past. So I do think we absolutely should have a conversation about their leaks at least. And so here it is. Leak Express, a port of Elden Ring for Switch 2 is in development, which will receive the game in a definitive edition. It seems that Virtuos could be responsible for this port, and that it would arrive by the end of 2025. Hashtag Elden Ring, hashtag Switch 2. This is extremely interesting. And I think what's extra interesting about this is that this is sounding very similar to the Skyrim remaster that we got for Nintendo Switch 1 back in 2017. A huge open world medieval fantasy game that's getting an enhanced version. Skyrim came out late into 2017, but it was a part of the Switch reveal trailer in 2016. And so Elden Ring Definitive Edition might be taking on the very same role here, and could also be in the Switch 2 reveal trailer. I really enjoy playing Dark Souls Remastered on my Nintendo Switch. It was a fantastic experience, in part because of the portability of the Nintendo Switch. I do think Soulsborne games are very well suited for portable play. Why? Because you engage in a lot of battles, and you die quite often. So there are many situations where you're going to be going at it in quick bouts, and the Nintendo Switch really facilitates that. The Switch 2, I imagine, would do the same. So I'm pulling for this. I want to see more FromSoft games on Nintendo, and hopefully this is true. It does make a lot of sense, and maybe we see it in that Switch 2 reveal. And now let's move on to Pyoro. We've technically talked about this already, but only very briefly because we had spent the day making a video yesterday, and this news came out like right as I was about to upload the video, so I went back in and edited a few things to add my thoughts on this, but I want to focus a bit more on it here. So Pyoro, this is their account. It doesn't say Pyoro anymore because they privated their account, they changed their name. But if you follow them, if you have them on their notifications, you see their following, you see all this. I've seen their history of tweets. Whenever they make a tweet, a change, I see that because I still have them on my notifications. And they have still had leaks. Yes, they don't have the same level of leaks and consistency as they had before the June Direct period of time, because Nintendo found out how they were getting that information. But they have still proven to have some access to information, because they have still been leaking the occasional third-party announcement, and also, they did technically leak Emio the Smiling Man. So they have shown to still have information. And not just third-party information, but even Nintendo in the case of Emio the Smiling Man. So when they go to their account and they put the eye emojis, as we discussed, the eye emojis is a kind of a big deal thing right now, because we have the whole Yuko Replay thing, we have the Nintendo of UK manager getting fired maybe, or just really shutting down all their social media to avoid any sort of speculation on this, even though that's actually fueled the speculation more so. But point is, there has been this whole eye emoji thing, and now Pyoro is fueling that fire by putting their emojis here. To me, it does have me thinking, okay, they think something is about to happen. Pyoro has a history of doing these things shortly before an announcement, so I think there might be something to that. However, they've also changed their banner, and their banner shows the Nintendo Alarmo clock. And a lot of people have been looking at the dates and the times and trying to extrapolate if there's something to this. My first thought is, no. I remember seeing this for the first time, I looked at the numbers and I thought, oh, that's just one of the stock images from Nintendo Alarmo, there's nothing really we can take away from here. 9/23, September 23, that date is already passed, it's not relevant. March 10th, that's not relevant either. Maybe you want to look at it in reverse, October 3rd, that's not relevant either. Maybe you could say that March 10th would be Mario Day, and so you could jump into the thinking that, oh, Mario Day. That could be when the Nintendo Switch 2 is launching next year with the next huge 3D Mario, and we are about to see that in a reveal confirmed next week. That's a cool theory. I love it. But here is an issue. Mario Day next year takes place on Monday. Nintendo does not release consoles or games on Mondays. They've done it on Fridays, more recently they've been doing it on Thursdays. I don't know how they're going to handle their hardware release, but Thursday or Fridays probably when it's going to happen. So I don't think this is Pyoro teasing the actual release date for Nintendo Switch 2. But I will say this, I think it is possible that they are trying to indicate that it's time for Mario. This is a picture of a Nintendo Alarmo, but with an alarm for Mario. I think we can make that leap. Which, instead of calling it a leap, maybe it's more like a little hop, because if we're about to get the Switch 2 reveal, what do you think Nintendo's going to show off there? It ain't going to be 3D Zelda, I don't think. We just got Echoes of Wisdom this year, we got Tears of the Kingdom last year. They're not ready to show off a brand new 3D Zelda. Maybe a remake, like for Ocarina of Time, possibly. I think that's coming out a little bit later, closer to the 40th anniversary in 2026. But if we're talking about a big reveal for a next-generation console, 3D Mario is always a high likelihood. And now it's more so considering where Zelda's at. So if you don't have Zelda to launch a new console, Mario is increasingly more likely to be that big launch title. Even if it's not 3D Mario, there's still a great chance it might be Mario Kart instead. We might see both. This Switch 2 reveal might be heavy Mario news. New 3D Mario, new Mario Kart, something we've been waiting for over a half decade for both. In the case of Mario Kart, you could argue a decade, since the original release of Mario Kart 8 was back in 2014 on the Wii U. So it's a long time coming, and we may finally be about to get our payoff here. Pyoro seems to be supporting this idea. Nash Guido is indicating a big third-party game that could be like the Skyrim equivalent in the Switch 2 reveal. And PH Brazil is coming in with some informed speculation that, based off what they understand and hear, if the Switch 2 is still going to be coming out early next year, it kind of needs to be revealed by the shareholders meeting, which leaves next week as very, very plausible. But that's what appears to be going on right now. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.